So we talked about Michael Reinhold as the guy who, remember, he was the guy who shot Jay Danielson, I think was his name, in Portland, the Trump supporter in Portland. And at the
Oh, yeah,
time,
okay.
and then he committed blue suicide. He ran across state lines and got into a firefight with the cops, and lost. Uh, and at the time, and I still stand by this, it was the right analysis. I was a little bit careful about saying it was definitely an execution because I couldn't see from the video, and I'm only using the evidence that I look at and to make those calls. So I don't want to, I didn't want to say that it looked like he was definitely not acting in self-defense or whatever. But more information has come out, and I think it's much more likely that this was intentional murder, and that this was premeditated, and it was planned, and which I guess is the same
Wow.
thing. And they were looking for a Trump supporter. So I'm going to read to you. I'm going to show you a couple things. One is, this is the warrant that was out for his arrest. Now, granted, these are accusations, but there's a story that's being told here, and I think the story matters because there's evidence. So this is, he's suspect number 1 in this warrant, right? And just so you know what we're
Okay.
looking at here, the Circuit County of State of Oregon, Multnomah County. This is a warrant for his arrest. So, interestingly enough, we see something here that kind of changes this narrative that he was trying to protect people. So, okay, so he gets the gun from his son. He says, "Sell me the gun for £250 and $100. I'm getting tired of this shit. I need a piece now." So he had previously been arrested for gun violations. Then the surveillance video from the Moda Tower, which is located right near the scene, this surveillance video emerged. And what you can see from the surveillance video, we're going to walk through it. And I know this might be a little bit, here I'll make it a little bit bigger, make it easier to see for people. Okay. So this is Reinhold. This is actually another accomplice and another person. There's probably 3 or 4, maybe even more people involved in this. And back here also is Daniel and his friend Pappas, and you'll see them in a minute. So, but this is Reinhold. He's walking in front. And actually, he was walking with this woman, and she stopped and stood against the wall so she could observe these people, and these people are also with them, so there's at least 4. Okay? So he turns and he goes, so he ducks around, he's going to duck around this corner and hide here. So he ducks around that corner, and there's Reinhold standing there now. He's ducked behind this corner, and here's Danielson, the guy who was killed, and here's his friend Pappas. And here is, you can see the girl that Reinhold had been walking with, who was standing against the wall. She now joins kind of this pack. She's kind of following these two. And these two are continuing to walk, and you'll see next, here, this woman is looking at Danielson, where they just went. This guy is turning to make eye contact with Michelson. And so they've been following these guys. They've identified their target. He's turning to say, "Come on." At this point, Michael gets activated and comes. And these guys, she breaks away eventually. And these 2 guys are there at the shooting. And this is a picture of after the shooting. You can see that one guy running and Michael's running away. Now remember Kyle stayed around for to talk to the cops. I had to shoot someone in self-defense. Not that this didn't happen at all here. So the other thing that is interesting about this is there was a video that was released that someone transcribed some of the audio, and what you can hear happening. Here it is. What you can hear happening. I'm gonna actually pull this. I'll show this. This is I don't know if everyone follows this person, but do you know Carlos Osueda? is on Twitter. This is just
Yes.
this is an unrolled thread from Carlos, going to the same thing. So Carlos talks about the same observations as in the warrant, like we just talked about here. But then Carlos also talks about the possibility that this black car was involved, because in the video you can see that the people who the guy who was shot, there's this black car here, maybe keeping them in this area. So that's not clear. But more importantly, there's this video. And this video captures the shooting. But you don't see it, you only hear it. And what you hear is, you hear the first male voice say, "Move, move, move." And then the second one say, "Hey, enemy," I don't know if it's club. Carlos thinks it's enemy club. I don't know if that's right. I hear a word, but I'm not sure what it is. "Enemies over there. We got a couple right here." Him? Pull it out. Right here? Hissing sound and gunshots. And then a female yells, "Knocked him off," and then someone else yells, "Go, go, go." This sounds like an attack. Here's some other things you hear. "I'm good. I don't need any of you guys to help." "All right. Come on, we gotta go. We can't have a scene, man. Might have just left in the car. Trying to shoot. I mean, you always take it. Move, move, move." And then the part that I just read. So there is something happening here that looks and smells an awful lot like an intentional, planned execution, probably in response to Kenosha, by Antifa members who were just looking to find some Trump supporter that they could murder. Now, there were reports that the bear spray or pepper spray happened first. The pepper spray can was shot, so it was deployed. It was out. But there's conflicting reports. I've seen some reports that say there was a shot and then the spray and then another shot. It's not clear. But if a guy's walking up to you with a gun out, which may have been happening here, deploying pepper spray, if that's what you got on you, might be the right next move, or it might sound like the right next move to do. So this is a part of a longer story, which is that I think Antifa is getting more sophisticated. And to that end, I want to share another quick article here. We're going to have this guy, I think tomorrow probably, we're going to talk to this person. It won't be live. We're going to talk to NC Scout tomorrow, likely. So just want to have you seen this video where this mob beats on these guys and spits on them, and have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
All right. Well, here I'll play a little bit of it just for a moment here. So there's 4 guys in a group here, and they're being chased in Portland. You can see strobe lights. They're getting spit on, hit with a bat a little bit, pushed over. All right, so a lot going on there. One of the guys involved in this has spoken out, and I just want to tell you something that you may not realize. First of all, these guys aren't wimps. These guys that you see getting spit on and thrown around, they're not just being wimpy. They are, at least a couple of them are they have military backgrounds. One of them was in the Marines and part of the 1st Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion. He was on tour in the early to late 2000s, then part of the Department of Defense. He was with other people, also 2 of the guys with me here, he says, one of which is a Bronze Star. It's a Medal of Valor. The other, a Purple Heart recipient. So these aren't soy boys running away from getting spit on. They all had pistols on them. They were all carrying pistols. And I just want to read you what this guy says. We were all carrying pistols as well. Opportunity, ability, and jeopardy. We were in a deadly force situation, and we could easily articulate the use of deadly force. But they had pepper sprayed us. They were using industrial strobe lights on us, etc. We couldn't positively ID our target and what lied beyond it. They did a great job of taking our situational awareness away. It was fucking incredible. And he goes on to describe later what's going on. And he says, hey, like, people would have said, hey, well, why wouldn't you shoot? They're impeding your movement with bats. And I would have thought that I would shoot, but I didn't. And here's why. So he says, but in all the training that I've been through my life, I've never been in one where the first 5 seconds of the scenario, you're blinded with a strobe light and sprayed with pepper spray. That changes everything. They were throwing these rocks from 15 feet back in the crowd. You couldn't see who the fuck threw it, etc. Things like that. It's just a good talking point for guys that carry concealed, but you need to think through all these different scenarios. They chased us for 11 city blocks. They had a convoy of about 25 vehicles that cut us off at the next intersection. They had scouts on the corner with radios. They had a drone following us. They had a bullhorn calling us Nazis, and the crowd was following a red strobe light that was up in the air on a stick. So they would announce Nazis, and then people would follow the red strobe light. The reason that this is important, I think, is probably obvious. Antifa's getting pretty sophisticated here. This is a pretty sophisticated attack. And this isn't like a couple random guys getting violent. This is someone who's they've figured out how to control and point to the mob appropriately. And they don't have to actually plan what to do, but they figured out how to take the energy of the mob and focus it on an individual. Yeah. And that is extremely dangerous.